Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a really significant alchemization, change, liberation that you can make in your life is moving from fear to joy, even in the presence of a perpetrator. How do you move from fear to joy? Moving from anxiety to contentment, moving from jealousy and rage to acceptance and faith. These are divine states. These are higher order states that once you get through the rubble and the clutter, you kind of set foot in. It's like a river that you go trotting through the woods and you sort of know it's there. Then eventually you get to the flow and you feel this freedom. You feel that whatever anxiety or lies that have kept, usually what keeps an anxiety in place is some sort of lie or denial. The pathology in mental illness, M. Scott Peck, he feels a lot of it is based in lying. Kids lie. Oh, I did my homework. I ate my vegetables. They want to trick their parents. It's the old deceive. Oh, yes, I did. But their body knows the difference. So the tell of the psychopath is that their body doesn't really register that difference. So they have an ability to lie in a way that is quite chronic, quite repetitive, and requires the same pathology. Once you sort of intermix with them, the milieu, the environment that they create is based on and predicated on predetermined lies and deliberate sort of shortcutting, shortfalling, or otherwise ruining the lives of others. And when I say ruin, I mean that in a serious, literal way. I mean that that's sort of what they consume, is sort of that destruction, seeing that they can take whatever they want from others. Very parasitic. So very parasitic meaning they are intraspecies predator. Dr. Robert Hare, who studied this type of male population, especially those incarcerated, but realized that there are many in the population which are as severe as criminal, but they have the appearance of something completely different. Snakes in Suits, okay, another great book. The Sociopath Next Door. These are things you need to understand about the world, the reality, something you want to teach yourself if you weren't taught it before, and for you to feel adequate and competent in handling and dealing, even if you've never experienced even feelings of competency, efficacy, or sort of that what in psychology, the just self-agency is the ability so for you to sort of just become industrious and produce and do, just like children who play and then they learn to build, that's like industriousness. So a similar thing for you. Your life should involve a balance of work and play and rest and solitude. However, if your whole sort of trajectory has been thrown off apparently by someone who doesn't possess these qualities, what does it mean? What is the situation? How do they design and create this deception, and then how do you liberate? So how do you know, moving beyond, and really sort of how do you know if you're in the sauce too? Because these are really difficult places where you're at. Sort of if you're in a rainforest, you're like, I don't know, I've never been here, and I don't even have the slightest idea of what to do, where to go. I don't have a compass, I don't have a star, I don't have a vision. So you must realize that a psychopath will break others down by having a vision for them, which seems to be supportive of another's, but really is parasitic, meaning they're going to take them for a ride to only a specific point and then sort of kick them to the curb for whatever reason, because they're done. They're finished. Like a tube of toothpaste, there's no more in it. There's nothing more in it for them. They've already consumed. You've attended. You've done their affair, or you've done their job, or you've done whatever, but then you have to get out of what is like it feels just like a perpetual lead anvil that's going to come after you and separate your head from your body in terms of being able to think and derive some sort of clarity that is not based in and predicated on a negative vision of you. So a psychopath will hit others headlong, and I think the manipulation is they create and rob others of the vision that they sort of have for themselves, which is a difficult and ongoing thing. So a vision meaning something you dreamed or desired of, and it shouldn't be something excessive or erratic or neurotic, but something practical, something, that you feel meaning or value from. And so there's a direct conflict with a vision that someone's going to have for their life and a psychopath, because they do the old takedown of your vision for yourself, and they instill a different vision for you, which seems like a better version of you, but it is not. It always ends up with dumping others somewhere, literally and figuratively. And whether it's in work, business, your school, your college, your degree, your neighborhood, you can find this sort of pernicious type of behavior that is really sort of corruptive of others in the making. But really, where are you going to find these? At the conventions, the parties, the clubs, the nightlife, the restaurants, the gambling tables, the currency exchange stores, or other sorts of places where they might frequent so they can sort of be a star. They, in a job, getting there through illicit ways, thinking they can use their quote unquote power, which they think having no fear, a psychopath interprets as having a power. They interpret it as having like a super tool that no one else has. Hey, guess what? I don't get worried about this, so I can just la la la. Okay? And they shock people, I think, with this, meaning the people go, okay, this person is really unique and different, but they supplant the vision that you have for yourself, your own specialness, uniqueness, the value, the things that are intrinsic to you. They don't validate, but what's even further is they have a negative vision for you. And I want to bring that to the attention, kind of like the psychopathic vision, and how that's so deleterious, damaging, and you must understand and here to aid its removal, almost like a junk, a garbage, a negative energy, a negative force, a negative experience that seeks to deceive, fool, trickery, just like you might see in Shakespeare, whoever the fool is, and they make people laugh, but the joke is kind of on their target, because they have no problem simultaneously saying they're in love and doing away with this person. So in humanity, the oil and vinegar does not mix. You can easily see and separate it, but when it comes to love and matters of the heart, they can sometimes overmix, and you sometimes don't realize what happened. That's just like when I was on a train as a youngster, 14, okay, taking the L, going, missed Michigan Avenue. We didn't get off, and it takes you to a whole nother part of the city, and didn't realize there were wolves. I mean, it was just like, got off to go and turn around and come back. A lot of crime. In other words, a lot of people who live, by psychopathy, by stealing, by lying, by whatever they need. So, and then being approached by like 5 or 6 people. Oh, and then, in the front of me. Oh, I'm coming in the door. Oh, I didn't see you. And then they're distracting. And then meanwhile, they've got their buddies. Oh, I didn't see you. And then there goes your wallet, your hairbrush, whatever else you had. They're lifting it from you. So it's the old, these are predetermined, premeditated predators. And I'm not using this lightly. This might be your spouse, your partner, and you might have exposed. You might have seen some red flags, and you might have just slept through those until you realize that your vision that you have for your life is no longer solid. It's no longer real. It's no longer right. It's no longer yours. There's a microfiche that's been put in that's sort of sent to decode that, throw it to whomever individual so they can process it and then feed it back to you with a different vision. And it's done with exploitating, meaning taking advantage of others. Children, their inability to drive. Kids can be hostage by their parents at the store, at the grocery store. You bad kid, they're being a kid. They're told, psychopathic parents just, they don't have any empathy for or understanding of childhood development. And then, so a vision, so what I'm trying to explain is how important a vision is for one another. So, for example, a company that I was in earlier in my career, there was a great woman with a great vision for her company, for the department. She really wanted to mentor and be there and teach and understand. And she had a great vision, and she laid out the tools. So she wanted people to succeed, and it would also be good for her for people to succeed. Whether, right or wrong, but did things go too far? Where instead of that, they do the bait and switch. They're going over here, and they're no longer supportive of you. They all of a sudden are a cold shoulder. I don't think so today. And all of a sudden you've lost a best friend. You've lost a soldier. You've lost a comrade. You've lost a colonel. Whatever it is you lost, you're feeling that you've lost. And what's the scariest is that vision, because the supplanting, which I'm just going to look up. Because you must restore your vision. You must restore and be happy with your vision and create a new vision, like a new blueprint, like a house. Like, you have to lay out the squares, the foundation. Is there a living room? Is there a book nook? Is there a theater? Is there like a meditation chamber? Or is it all just mellow and comfortable and nothing too ocular? And so having that vision though is so important. And what they want to do is supplant, which means to supersede, which means to overcome you and create overwhelm in the like energy, and then replace with something different. Like, you've got a vision for your business, your relationship, and they're putting in, you think you're looking through a telescope and you're looking down a wine bottle, a vodka bottle, a garbage chute, but it certainly ain't aimed at the stars where you thought you were going to be, and so you come back to the now. When you come back to realization and you say, I'm no longer in denial. I'm okay no longer doing a certain behavior, that you're okay growing out of something negative. And sometimes when people are young, they think it's cool to be negative, badass, different, rogue. No, it isn't. When most of your friends end up in prison, dead, on drugs, out of control, and they ain't making it, they're breaking it. So to take they replace this. And if you do not understand, supplant comes from the Latin planta, so which means soul, and then sub, which means from below. So sub in Latin means from below. So subterranean, submarine, sub, par. Sub means below, okay? And from the Latin, and then planta from the Latin soul. So from behind, and then below sole, so for me, below your foot, below the sole of your shoe. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Who needs their foot on the ground? I think most anybody needs to get that experience, yo. Okay, and then from below the sole, so this has been going on for some time, okay? But it doesn't mean that has to be your identity, your reality, the rest of your life. You've got this. And then to the Latins, supplantare, which means to trip up. Okay, and then the Old French, supplanter. So in all, look at that supplanter. He trip everybody up. That's supplanter. You know, okay, to trip you up. If you have felt trapped up, you must acknowledge it. You can see these people in the grocery store, these people who are just having anxiety fits in retail places. They're gazed out, they're checked out, they're just sort of something else has a vision for their life. They're not living their life by a vision that they have. You can see, I mean, so I'm not saying that about everybody, but what I'm trying to explain is that is what is occurring. So they supplant, which means you have your foot on the ground and they get underneath it. Hey, and then let me sweep you off your feet. John Mellencamp, swept me off my feet and set me flying. Okay, sounds pretty nice. Sounds like a great thing until you realize you don't have sure footing, until you realize your footing is to please them. You're not on track. Your life isn't on track. They're not living up to things. Things aren't panning out. Things, you're afraid to call it out. You've got, you seem lifted up, but you are not. It's a dichotomy. It's a foolery. So you must realize how important it is that you recognize how the cause that creates the effect of this sort of chaotic disorganization, disorientation, and irritation, when you sort of have a vision or have your vision sort of plucked from you. That's one of the most terrible, frightening feelings, to have that shattered. You find out someone's cheating on you. They're going through massage whatevers. There's someone at the office who's a maid, and for some reason, they're exchanging gifts. What? And it seems really odd. They supplant another's vision for a confused one, and then they send everyone off the rail like Mutiny on the Bounty, shipwreck, when their vision sort of they can't own. You can't own an illusion, until you have just a miracle of surrendering and saying, I'm throwing this onto the soul within, like that is planted. And you that might be very, very scary to feel that unplanted feeling. And it's going to take work. You're going to have to keep your eye on your prize, eye on your knowing, eye on your feeling, and where is your security, and and how can you get there, and being realistic and having a realistic vision, and realizing where things then got way unrealistic, way out of character, or way, you lost time on your vision. So in other words, you've wasted a lot of time fighting, getting in denial of red flags, not getting the real deal, being supplanted, so the opposite to that, you need to do some planting. You need to do some legwork. You need to say, you would like to, for the first time maybe ever in your life, you might be in your 50s, I, for the first time, would like to plant a feeling of prosperity. I would like to plant a feeling of abundance, wellness, health, attractiveness, vitality. What seeds are you planting today that you want to manifest? And make sure that those happen, and keep them in your vision. You know, I want and I believe life owes this to me. Let me see it. You know, let me see it. Let me see that there's still good men. Let me see that there's still good women. Let me see that there is still hope. Let me get a vision and get yourself back to the drawing board. Little by little. It doesn't have to be some big, huge, oh, I'm turning my life around in 6 hours and I'm suddenly this, that, and the other thing. You can get there as long as you do it with repetition and experience, making it a priority, getting a vision, laying it out, being okay, adhering to it, being committed, showing no doubt, showing up in your life, just showing up, not showing up stressed, not showing up buzzed, not showing up stupid, not showing up in doubt, intoxicated from fighting, intoxicated from stressing over something you don't really need to stress from. Get back, get back to where you once belonged, JoJo, and go. Just get that little song, not in a huge, just get that back purring in that way. And don't allow that sort of disordered vision to be part of your evolution and your upbringing of your positive seeds that that you have wanted and dreamt and you thought were sharing. There isn't, so those are still alive. The dream and the seed is still alive. It's still in there. So own and recognize that for yourself. You do not need to impress anybody when you're recovering from this. You do not need to be on, doing anybody else. You need to do you today, and that is enough. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Have a beautiful day. You got it.